Hey, good morning. I'm a day early. Yesterday, I mentioned that tomorrow is the last day of school for the kiddos for the year, and it's a short day, including lots of parties. And yeah, so I'm not going to be able to do as much as I normally do on Wednesdays. So I wanted to hop on 10 o'clock today to give you the next step in the 5 steps of our framework for introverts building a direct selling business. And so today, ending as, I'm going to put this up here, as an introvert. I can't read without my glasses, introvert. And then we will get started. I think there's no red line, so I think everything is there. There we go. Okay, let's get started. This is one of my favorite days of the week because I love this. I was thinking about this the other day. I love learning. And then when I learn something that really makes a difference in my life and my perception and the actions that I take and the results that I get, I have to share that. It's some people share sales about shoes. Some people share favorite movies or favorite restaurants. I share knowledge that can help other people who have felt the pain that I have felt. And so I'm really excited to share that today. So sorry, we have people working on our trees outside. So if the dog is barking, that is why. Okay, so the framework, let me remind you, the framework is first we have to know ourselves as introverts. A lot of times we do things differently than sometimes it can feel like the rest of the world, right? And so we have to remind ourselves and educate ourselves and accept ourselves and get excited about what we can do, okay, and what we bring to the table. Number 2 is choosing the perfect client. And you're going to see this picture over and over again. This is my perfect client. Her name's Julie. That might not be her real name. This is just a model that I found on the internet who reminded me of what my perfect client looked like. And everything about them, so that when you're speaking to them, they feel like you are speaking to their soul. Now, the chances are it might not match with other people, but that's okay. That's not your person. And the great news is if that person knows, likes, and trusts you, she might be your person, right? There might be something that you can provide her, okay? So it's not like you're eliminating everybody who's not exactly the perfect one, but you're not going to get the perfect one if you aren't looking for her. And today we're talking about branding yourself and the importance of branding yourself and not the company you represent. Just like before you joined partnership with your company, you were your own self. You had your own brand back then. You've always had your brand. I mean, your brand is who you were born as, who you're born to be, how you do things every day. And so this part is really a liberating part of the process because it's who we are. We just get to express it. Sorry, the dog was making weird noises. We just get to express it, and we get to have that feeling of freedom and independence and power that can really attract people to us, all right? And since so many people have ill feelings toward people in sales, the whole idea that you get to be yourself and trust that there's other people out there that were created for you to serve and work with, it is such a weight off your shoulders that you don't have to learn specialized techniques or just the exact right words to say or anything that can be really restraining. Okay. I think that direct selling is super fantastic. I think the whole idea of it is energizing. And I remember how I felt so hopeful when I joined the direct selling industry more than 20 years ago. But as large entities, as large corporations, the companies that we work with, we partner with, have large legal departments. And as a company's sole mission is to continue to grow, continue to be healthy, continue. And the legal department has to put some stipulations around some things. And they should. I mean, to grow a company is a big stinking deal. You want to protect the integrity of the company from anybody that could do it harm. Now, some of the things that, because some of the restraints that the companies have, some of the direct selling companies have, are there for their best interest. And I believe that they love us, and I believe that the people that lead us in the field love us. And I am not casting any shade on anybody. I really have been given just some amazing human beings to be around during my direct selling journey. And I love them all so very much. But I think there's limitations on what is possible when it comes to educating the people in the sales force. And to make this short, your company can't legally tell you how to do most things. They can give you education on products. They can give you education on maybe how to meet people, but they cannot specifically tell you do this to get this result, because they could be sued. Can you see that? Okay. Then the people in the sales force are limited as well. They're limited to their own experience, what's worked for them. And they could be introverts, they could be extroverts, the methods that they use, even despite the fact that we all love each other so much, it's limiting. It's limiting. If somebody is a certain personality style and they're doing well, they can teach their people how they do it. Okay, and work with the people who are working, which is beneficial. You show them that you're here to put effort in, and they spend time with you. I think that's a good use of their time. What a poor use of their time is to learn how to be something different than they are. So to learn how to communicate, for instance, with different communication styles, because there is that training out there too. I think that's important. People want to communicate the same way, and that's not difficult to learn. To learn how to be something that you're not, in order to teach somebody who is different than you, that would take a lot of time and energy. Could you see that? Okay, so I think that although the model and the company and the individual people are fabulous, I think it can be limiting on that. So this is why when I first heard of this idea of branding, it's been about 2 years ago, I liked the idea of being more independent. That's one of my 5 strengths, is independence, because it felt more like me. Okay, I never worked my business in a way that was deceitful. I'm sorry, I got an itch. Or I never lied to my customers. I always told them what was the best for them. Now the wood chipper's going. It's okay, Maddie. It's okay. Poor dog. And the people that I work with, I was always honest, and I still am with them. But to have some independence, knowing that I could be more me, that just turned on the light bulb for me. Okay, and so branding myself was one of the. I don't want to close the door because my parents who live with us are not here, and so I don't want her to freak out not being with anybody. So this would help. You could probably hear me really great now. So yes, branding almost came as a second skin to me. Like it just was the path that made complete sense, and is probably the thing that I am in love with most in the process. Okay, I'm hoping that they're done wood chipping soon. So I have been part of a program. I think I started pretty quickly after I learned about the whole idea of branding. My first kind of thought when it came to branding was the fact that hold on, I'm so distracted. Okay. This is what you get when you do live. Okay. Was branding. Okay. So branding came to my mind, and this is what it meant. Branding is, I can drive down the street and my son who can't read can pick out which one is McDonald's. I can pick out which one is the trampoline place. You see a certain color like robin's egg blue and it makes you think of Tiffany's. That's kind of what I thought branding was, because I had never thought of branding an individual. I had only thought of branding large companies. And so at first, when I heard branding, I was like, oh, I need like a professional team to like come up with logos and pick out the colors and all of this. But then as I learned more, I got so excited and hopeful and engaged in the process of just drawing out more of who I was. So I've been, oh shoot, I never know if I hit the button or not. Okay, it's fine. So I've been learning since February. I started a new program where we got even more in depth about branding. And so that's what I'm going to share with you today, some things from the branding so that you don't feel overwhelmed and it doesn't feel like, I don't know, what does branding feel like to you? If you want to drop a comment. When you first heard of brand yourself, like what came up for you with that? This is a really great quote by Jasmine Starr. A brand is how you make people feel and what they say about you when you aren't in the room. So you have been living your brand your whole life. Okay. It's part of how we know people, our friends, each of our friends, everybody we know has their own brand, has their own characteristics, I won't get that deep into it. Okay. So let's get started. Finding your brand. What are the top 5 categories that you want to identify your brand with in this season? And your brand, this is good news, your brand can change. Okay, what are the top 5 categories that you want to identify with your brand this season? Okay, so for example, I don't have 5, I have 4. My brand, and I'm going to call them pillars, just like things that hold up. So if this is my brand, the pillars are going to be the things that hold it up. It's the foundation on which my brand is built. Okay, the same as yours. What are some categories? So some of my brand categories are empowerment or encouragement, because as introverts, sometimes we can compare ourselves and we can feel less than, or we can feel frustrated in the fact that some people are doing things this way and seem to be getting great results and we can't make it work. So empowerment and encouragement. The next part is business strategy. So I give you strategies and how to take the strengths of who you are and use them to get the results that you want. Mindset shifts. So maybe having some new thoughts. Okay, some new thoughts get you some new results. And then I talk about being uniquely you as an introvert. So those are my 4 brand pillars or categories that hold up my brand. All right. So that's your first one, is what are your categories or your pillars that you want to identify with your brand? Okay. And let me just pop this in there as well. Let's say the company that you represent sells kitchenware. Your pillars do not have to have anything to do with kitchenware. And this was the most exciting part to me, because while I represent a brand that has to do with specific things, that is not my whole life. In fact, it's just a small part of my life, the things that I represent. A tiny piece. Not even barely on the radar. That, I am so much more than the company that I'm working with, right? And so are you. So it doesn't have to be spoons, plates, apple cores, and pizza stones, okay? It's you. It's not the brand that you represent. Okay, the next one, and this is what I thought of when I thought of branding, was brand image. And this is kind of fun. When I let go of the idea of it having to be perfect, especially perfect the first time forever, it was much more fun. So what colors, images, and fonts do I find myself drawn to? And there's certain things that you're like, oh, look at that font. What is that? That is, I love that. Colors. Can you see this back here? These are my brand colors. It's like a deep teal, a lighter shade, and then a lighter shade, white, and then kind of this orange. It's like this orangey color, and then a little bit lighter version of that. And how did I kind of work with that? I used that free program called Canva, canva.com. There is a paid version for it, but you can do it without it, okay? There's a whole section there that helps you with colors. Who else has a brand that I love, that I can get inspiration from? So let's say you're really drawn to a particular author or artist or somebody that you follow on social media that seems to have this thing. When their stuff comes up, you immediately recognize it as their stuff. Don't feel like you have to copy them, but kind of look past that and say, oh, I see what's going on here. This is what they're doing. What kind of inspiration can you get from that? Okay, let's go back to the last one, your ideal customer. So go back to your ideal customer and think about it again. Kind of a fresh new page. Based on what you know about that person, answer these questions. This is important when it comes to social media. What platform do they spend their time on? Okay. Tell me about their interest. What kind of content do they respond to most? Do they love those quotes? Do they love the memes? Do they love the reels? Do they like the moving videos? Do they like the, what's that called? Boomerangs, the thing that goes like this. Do they love that? Do they love aesthetically beautiful photographs? What do they vibe with most? Okay, the next thing with your brand has to do with how your profile is set up. And this is a new thought. This could be a mindset shift for you. When you go onto somebody's profile on social media, what do you first do? You probably look to see what they do. Are they a teacher? Are they a marathoner? You can know so much about people based on how they spend their time. And to list your company on your profile is so limiting to who you are. There's nothing the matter with your company. Your company probably is fantastic. But just to list, this is me, will do a couple of things. It limits how fabulous you are. And number two, people's brains try to expend the least amount of energy as possible. And for them to say, oh, she sells for X company. Her name is Denise, and she sells toothpicks. She reached out to me. She must want to try to sell me some toothpicks. I don't want to be her friend. I don't need toothpicks. Do you see how that is? They disqualify how fabulous you are before they even get to know you. So taking off what you do, I mean, you could say sales, marketing, anything like that. Just don't put the name of your company. The final thing is that as you're building your brand, you want to be somebody that people know, like, and trust. And as they are starting to know, like, and trust you, they are going to identify you with your brand. Heaven forbid, anything happens, like a pandemic, that's something that you don't even expect, something you have no control over. Heaven forbid, something should happen to the company. And the company is how people know you. Now you don't have an identity. Now you have to try to rebuild. Do you start working with another company? Sometimes people switch companies. That just causes confusion. Remember that people's brains want to conserve energy, not try to figure out who you are and what you represent. If they get to know you first as who you are, it's going to be so much better. Okay. And as you're getting to know them through your social media, you're going to be these 5 things. Okay. You're going to help to educate them. So whatever your pillars are, you get to be an educator. Some of your posts will have to do with education about something. Inspiration. You're going to provide them some inspiration. You're going to entertain them. People go to social media to be entertained. However, while they're there, they can be educated, right? There's also going to be something with connection. And this has to do with authenticity. That's the other thing that just lifted weights off my shoulder. I get to be truly me. I get to say my ums. I get to apologize for my dog barking. I get to say, hey, I have a nice shirt on, but I'm wearing workout pants. I get to be me. And it's when you are 100% you that people are like, I like this girl. Versus trying to be something that your company wants or something that your leadership tells you you need to be. You get to show up as you. Connection. And then finally, sales. And that is when it comes to the transference of belief in a particular product. I am one for the belief that when it comes to selling, everything should be done with a curiosity focus. So nothing should be like, this pen is awesome. It's big. I sell big pens. If you want one, I got it. Like, I'm not big on that type of billboard in your face promotion. I'm more like, I was writing the other day, and when I wrote something on the paper, and the ink, it just kind of flowed out. There was like no pull. Like, some people are really into pens. And this pen is the best pen. If you're looking for a really cool pen, drop me a message. What does that do? It creates curiosity. What pen is that? She's waving it around. What does it say? What does it also do? It builds trust, because I'm not trying to sell you something. I'm saying, hey, if you're looking for a pen, let me know. I'll tell you later. Okay? It also gives them the fear of missing out. What was that? Am I going to miss something? What? I need to ask her. And so what does that do as the person speaking? That shows you who's listening. So you have an idea of who might be open to a conversation versus trying to talk to everybody and getting a lot of no's. Okay. I'm going a long time. I'm going to wrap this up real fast because I don't want to go past 25 minutes. Okay, so I told you about that. You have to brainstorm some hashtags. So basically, a hashtag is a way to search things on the internet. Some social media work with it more than other social media. So depends on, like I said, where your perfect customer hangs out. But hashtags, let's say somebody is looking for pens. And one of the hashtags is write so smooth. Hashtag write so smooth. They can look for that hashtag write so smooth, and they can see all the people that have pens. All right. And so that could potentially lead a customer to you. Oh, I forgot. Oh, that's that. Entertaining. I think I did that. Okay, then what is this? Hashtags, yes. Okay. So let's do a quick checklist. When it comes to, with Facebook, you have to have your name on there. That's how that works. With Instagram, you can make up a name. So be sure that your Instagram handle what people know you as, has something to do with your name and not just a bunch of random letters. Be sure that your bio information explains what you do and how you help people and what result that they're going to give. So I help blank do blank to get blank. Okay, call to action. There's an option that you can have like a link tree, which is a website link tree, on your social media, and it can lead them to more things. It could lead them to your website. It could lead them to a survey. It could lead them to some resources that you are offering, but that is a great thing to have on there. And then this is a little bit more fancy, but email. I'm real big on this because we don't own the social media sites. We use them as tools. They reserve the right to kick us off, turn off our account, put us in jail. They reserve the right to close the social media account. And if you build your business completely on social media, you run the risk of losing it all those people contact, all those people's history and communications. And so as quickly as possible, you need to develop a system to get people's email addresses, because that's the only thing that you own. You own that. I've seen so many people that have businesses online that completely have had their businesses disappear because Facebook decided we're turning off your account. So the more that you have ownership of things, your brand and your communication, direct communication with your customers, the better and stronger and safer your business will be. Okay, I'm done. I just get so excited about this. I hope that it's helped. If you have questions, please feel free to put them down. I'll check on them later today. And if you want the actual physical framework that I'm talking about, you can go to my link in bio on Instagram or on Facebook. And I believe that if you go into the description section on YouTube, it's there as well. Okay, so we will see you next week when we're going to be talking about consistently showing up, the importance of that. Okay, so have a great day, and thanks for hanging out today. I've really enjoyed it. Hopefully you do too.